All right, so today we're diving into something a little different. Um, we're talking about chastity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and specifically something called Locktober.
Okay.
And we're going to be looking at this really fascinating journal called Logged In Reflection, a chastity journey through Locktober.
Interesting.
And one of the things that really caught my eye about all this is the way it kind of brings together self-discipline and like introspection, personal growth, all this stuff.
Hmm.
It's especially interesting to see how it plays out in like the BDSM and kink communities.
Yeah, that is fascinating.
Yeah.
So, when we talk about Locktober, it's not just like your typical abstinence thing. It's
Yeah.
really more about like exploring control and self-awareness, even pushing boundaries in a way, but
Right.
doing it all in this like controlled environment.
Yeah. I'm curious about that. When you say controlled environment, what does that actually look like?
Right. So in BDSM and kink, there's this concept of like using locks, right? And it can be
Yeah.
either physical or symbolic, and it's like a tool for this whole journey.
Right. So when you say locks, are we talking like literal locks?
Well, sometimes it can be like chastity devices,
Yeah.
but it can also be like symbolic things too. Like maybe you wear a certain bracelet
Oh, interesting.
or you make a specific commitment.
Right.
And it's basically just a way to like remind yourself of the limits you've set so you can
Excellent.
stay focused throughout the month.
So it's like a physical reminder.
Exactly. It's like a visual cue.
Okay.
And, it's really important to remember that safety and consent are like super important in BDSM.
Of course.
And that includes Locktober too.
Right.
So like using these locks responsibly is crucial.
Yeah.
And you always have to have open communication with your partners.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this journal,
Yeah.
Locked In Reflection. It seems like a pretty important part of this whole thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like if you're going on this self-exploration trip through Locktober,
Yeah.
this journal is like your map and your buddy the whole way. It gives you these daily prompts for reflection and then weekly reviews to keep track of your progress.
Okay.
And at the end, there's a final assessment, so you can kind of like think about everything you've learned.
So it's like structured.
Totally. Yeah, it's super structured.
Okay.
And there's even space to write about your desires and challenges and any breakthroughs you have.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and there was this one prompt that I thought was really interesting. Is like, how does choosing restraint in one area of life impact your sense of freedom in others?
Whoa.
Right. It makes
Yeah.
you think about self-control in a whole new way.
That's a really good question. I like how the journal makes you think about things on a deeper level.
Yeah, it's not just surface level stuff.
Right. And it seems like something that could be helpful even outside of Locktober.
Oh, absolutely. What's really interesting is how it goes beyond just the physical stuff about chastity.
Okay.
It actually prompts you to explore the emotional and mental sides of it too.
Oh, wow. So how does it do that?
Well, for example, there are prompts that help you figure out what triggers certain desires.
Interesting.
And then you can try to understand like why you have those desires on an emotional level.
Right.
And then it helps you think about other ways to channel that energy.
Just like getting to the root of it.
Exactly. And that can really help with your self-awareness and make you more resilient.
Yeah.
And that can last way beyond just October.
So it's not about ignoring those desires, but understanding them.
Exactly. It's about being more mindful.
Okay.
And that's where the potential for growth really comes in.
Yeah.
The source material actually talks about people who went through Locktober and used the journal,
Ah.
and they had these breakthroughs in understanding their own desires.
Wow.
And they even like improved their communication with their partners and discovered new ways to be intimate.
That's incredible. It's like this whole other side of things.
Right. It's about exploring and discovering.
It makes you wonder, if limiting yourself in one area of life can actually lead to more freedom and growth in other areas.
That's a good point.
What other areas could we apply this to?
It really makes you think.
Definitely something I'm going to be thinking about. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Locktober and Locked In Reflection.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back soon with another fascinating topic. See you then. See you then.